So, we're going to continue on with joyous effort. Yeah. No, it's quite amazing, when you really think of the benefits of practicing Dharma, and even, when you get really interested in the studies you're doing and interested in the things you're meditating on, then it's so easy to practice, and there's a lot of joyous energy, to do the practice. So it shouldn't be something that we're like dragging ourselves along to, I should practice the Dharma. I ought to practice the Dharma. These people are nagging me until I practice. No, it shouldn't be like that, If you have that attitude, then something's going wrong. Okay, so we want to really see the benefit and also recognize the change as it occurs in our own lives. Having a realistic expectation. You're not going to be Buddha by next Wednesday. Sorry. Well, maybe you could be. Well, probably not. But you can still be happy, even if you're not Buddha by Wednesday. Yeah, so that's the thing. And then also, as you begin to really notice how the afflictions sabotage you and get you stuck and have you digging all sorts of ditches for yourself, then when you notice an affliction, then you really, it's like this treasure hunt. Oh, I found it, Not the treasure, you found the affliction. That's what you were looking for. Like, oh, I found what was driving me crazy. Now I can really work with it. And it becomes something fun to do because you're untangling this big mess in your own mind. And then as you untangle it, it's really hilarious. How the mind strings together different things and creates a drama. It's just astounding, and you can be interested, like, wow, how did I ever start thinking like that? And laugh at it and be delighted when you find those things so that you can release them and let them go. Okay? You believe me? Yeah, sure. Can't you just make the afflictions go away with a pill? No, sorry. Okay, so let's start with our visualization of the merit field. And remember that everybody in the merit field, all the lineage lamas, have done what we are attempting to do. So it's not like we're alone on this journey. There's, a whole lineage of century after century of practitioners who have done it and, went through everything it takes, but realized the goal. And then there's the Buddha and so many other Buddhas in different places in the universe at different times, all trying to help us. So we need to open our mind and let them help us. To listen to the teachings and really take them to heart. So we want to make sure that we have the proper motivation for listening to teachings. So let's recall that just seeking some pleasure for this life isn't going to cut it. And although seeking nirvana, liberation, is certainly worthwhile, it too has its limitations. But when we really look around us and see how completely interrelated we are with other living beings, and how there's no possible way we could even stay alive or even be born without the kindness of other living beings. Then our mind can relax and approach others as friends, like His Holiness does, and really respect and appreciate other living beings without any strings attached. And to seek to develop our mind, to have the qualities of a Buddha's mind, so we can be of the utmost benefit to them. So at the beginning, when I said, when we visualize the merit field and we have all the lineage lamas there, that they're all trying to help us. Some people may get the idea of, does that mean that they're going to appear to me in my meditation? Because when we hear help us, we think it means personally only me. No, nobody else is in the room. So in my meditation, they're going to appear and give me teachings. That might happen. Wait a few lifetimes. But what it means for us right now is when we're studying Shantideva's text, it's as if Shantideva were giving us a personal teaching and showing the example by his life of how to integrate that teaching and live it. Yeah. So don't have the thing that, receiving the inspiration or blessing from the lineage lamas or they're helping us is some mystical, thing that's going to be preceded by fireworks in your meditation or something like that. But it's just when you study, you hear teachings, it's really as if, that teacher is giving you a personal instruction. Now, we may scratch our heads and say, what in the world are they talking about? I don't understand. Okay. Well, that's why we're the students, is because we don't understand. Yeah. So that's quite normal. Nothing to be alarmed about. So we just keep learning, we keep practicing, and then, we begin to understand better. Okay. So we left off verse 58 last time, right? Okay. Oh, is this a good way to start off the morning? Stupid, ugly, feeble, and everywhere disrespected. First line of the teachings. Doesn't that make you inspired? Okay. Well, it should, because if we are a tough person bloated by conceit, and are also counted among the self-important ones, tell me what is more pathetic than this? Okay, here we are, a sentient being, our minds overwhelmed by ignorance, afflictions, and karma. And yet we are so important and think we are so knowledgeable, and that everybody should follow what we say in our advice, So we're just bloated with our own arrogance. Yeah. And yet it's really pathetic because we're a sentient being who doesn't know very much. And we think we're like, and then the result of that, of course, is to be born in future lives as stupid, ugly, feeble, and everywhere disrespected, because that is the way that we have acted or caused other people to feel. We've disrespected them and put them down and so on. And it really is pathetic. We've talked so much about learning to evaluate ourselves so that we don't have to depend on other people to tell us who we are, and to tell us whether our actions are virtuous or not virtuous, whether we're making good decisions or bad decisions. So to develop that ability to evaluate ourselves and make wise decisions, and when we make mistakes, to confess them and repair things. Yeah. So, important to be like that and not have our nose in the air thinking we are so fantastic. Yeah. No, wait for your question for later. Okay? So, really, watch how the self-importance is this really skewed attempt to make us feel good about ourselves when we don't really believe in ourselves. Yeah. And when we're terrified of making mistakes, or when we're terrified of other people knowing certain things about us, so we have a whole underground store of stuff that we don't want anybody else to know. But of course, that drags us down, doesn't it? Whereas when we can be transparent about things, admit our mistakes, repair things, then we really learn and we, really develop. Okay, so self-confidence is the trick in this whole thing. Yeah, to be self-confident without being self-important. Yeah, and last time I talked about how if you're really self-confident, then you aren't self-important. You don't need to be. Yeah. If you're self-confident, you believe in yourself, you know what you can do well, you also know what you can't do well, and you accept yourself. So you don't try and put on some show for other people. And the people who are really self-confident, are the people who are really humble, who don't fear being humble. Yeah. Most of us are terrified of appearing to be humble because when people will walk all over us and take advantage of us and so on and so forth. But the real spiritual practitioner has no fear of that. So we in society tend to think, the people who are really powerful, big, like this, and their booming voice, and they let everybody know what to do and what not to do, and they're rich and they're famous, and they argue, every time somebody says something they don't like, and they make sure that their idea prevails, And we think those people are powerful people. Actually, in their minds, it really is kind of pathetic, because it's really like the Wizard of Oz putting on that whole show, because you don't really believe in yourself. Yeah. Whereas you look at His Holiness, and I don't know if how many of you watched a couple of nights ago the Sakya tradition offered a long life puja to His Holiness, and it was really beautiful. And they gave His Holiness one of the Sakya hats, which is quite ornate with brocade and different things. And so this is the middle of this ceremony, very serious ceremony. They're offering all these different things to His Holiness, and He takes them, and and so on and so forth. So he took the hat and he tried to put it on, and he couldn't just slip it on. And so the only way he got it on was to kind of tilt it back a little bit and have it rest. It was really rather comical. And His Holiness smiled and kind of, he enjoyed this moment, So it's a totally serious ceremony. And he can smile and take delight in his own ability to put the hat on. And there is no shame, no embarrassment, no, I'm such a horrible person. I did this all wrong in the middle of the long life ceremony. I should have practiced beforehand 10,000 times to make sure that when this moment came, I could put the hat on right, and I didn't do that. No, there was none of that. He just enjoyed the moment. I think everybody did. Did you see that? Oh, that you can still watch the ceremony, but it was really, just how His Holiness is with his sense of humor and his ability to giggle. And that for me is a teaching. He's showing the kind of mental state, a mental state that's at ease. A mental state that's relaxed. And, and then you can see the beauty in that. Okay, so 59. Whoever seizes self-confidence in order to conquer the enemy of self-importance, they are the self-confident ones, the victorious heroes. Okay, so it's the self-confidence, that not the self-importance, not the arrogance, that makes one a victorious hero, a bodhisattva. And in addition, whoever definitely conquers the spread of this enemy's self-importance completely wins the fruit of a conqueror, fulfilling the wishes of the world. So if we're able to conquer our own sense of self-importance, that is a big step on the path to Buddhahood and to fulfilling the wishes of the world, because a Buddha doesn't, kind of go around helping people saying, okay, everybody, I'm manifesting from the Dharmakaya to help you. So, be open-minded and listen to what I'm saying. And then after people do that, then he goes, oh, yes, I'm such a good teacher. I was able to inspire those sentient beings, like I'm Shakyamuni Buddha. I'm better than, Amitabha, who just sits around in the Pure Land with all the very high level practitioners, or Vajrayoginis whose practitioners are even higher than that. But I'm here with the low ones, but they're so inspired by me. Yeah, you think the Buddha has that ego problem? No. Okay. So, when we've conquered self-importance, then we just do what needs to be done. Like that example that Shantideva gives of the hand pulling the thorn out of the foot. And it is no big deal. Yeah. So you help others as if you're helping yourself. I mean, when you brush your teeth in the morning, do you go, I'm such a good person for helping myself? No. Yeah. It's just we do it because it needs to be done and it brings a good result and we don't have to be self-important. Yeah. Okay, 60. If I find myself amidst a crowd of afflictions, I shall endure them in 1,000 ways. Like a lion among foxes, I will not be affected by this disturbing host. Okay, so if I find myself amidst the crowd of afflictions. Okay, so have you ever had your mind be where one affliction follows the next in such rapid succession that your mind is just spinning out of control and you don't know what to think anymore? Yeah. It's like, berserky. Okay. So when we find ourselves in that situation, I shall endure them in 1,000 ways, these afflictions. Now, when we hear the word endure, I don't know about you, but sometimes the word endure indicates to me, grit your teeth and bear it. I'm going to endure this. This affliction is not going to conquer me. No. Okay, that's not the way to do it. Yeah, we just make ourselves crazy. Yeah. But, talk to your affliction. Yeah. Your mind is raging with anger. Yeah. And you ask your mind, okay, what's your feeling and what's your need? Oh, I'm feeling angry because they're doing this and that. And then you say to your mind, no, they're doing this and that is not a need. What is your need right now? Well, I want people to respect me. Okay, mind. Yeah, you want people to respect you. What good is other people's respect going to do you? Well, then I'll know that I'm doing okay, that people love me, that I'm accepted, that I belong. And then you say to your mind, oh, okay. Whose approval do you trust more? Sentient beings' approval or the approval of the wise one, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas? Yeah? Do you really need the approval and the respect of sentient beings? Or is it more that you need to compare what you're doing to the advice that the wise ones have given and to the conduct of the wise ones, and to see if we're in line with that? Yeah. So you kind of talk with that affliction. Say, look, you don't need to be so angry. Yeah? People respect you. People don't respect you. Comes, comes. Goes, goes. Yeah? That was Lama Yeshe's, one of Lama Yeshe's pith instructions. He had these one-line things that stick in your mind. Comes, comes. Goes, goes. Yeah. Respect comes, comes. Goes, goes. What's more important? Yeah, that I act ethically. Yeah, that I follow the guidelines of the wise ones. That's more important. So, some people approve, some people don't approve. Oh, this is normal, isn't it? Do you know anybody who only gets good feedback from others? Never, doesn't have anybody who ever criticizes them? Yeah. And people even criticize the Buddha. So of course they're going to criticize us. Many years ago when I was director of the nunnery in France. This was the early 80s. It was a long time ago. And, we were mostly, nobody had been ordained very long, and we were just starting things, and it was not structured very much. And I was getting a lot of criticism because at that time I did not realize that the first job, what do you call it? The first duty of somebody who is in a leadership position is to be the object of criticism. Yeah, that's the first part of your job. Okay, so I didn't realize that at that time. So I was like, wow, I'm working so hard. I'm trying to do so much. And I just get criticized. So Lama Zopa was there, and I went to him and I told him that, I'm just trying to help and do what I think best. And then they criticized me. And Rinpoche looked at me and he said, well, sentient beings criticize the Buddha too. That shut me up. Yeah. Yeah. Sentient beings criticize the Buddha. They criticize His Holiness. Needless to say, they are going to criticize me. Yeah. That goes without even thinking. So why am I so surprised when I get criticized? Why am I so hurt by it? This is, part of what happens in our life. And there's nobody who goes their whole life without somebody criticizing them. So might as well get used to it. Yeah. You would think that we would get used to it by now. It's happened so much. But every time it happens, we fight it. No, that's not true. Yeah, Stephen's line. But Venerable, you don't understand. That's what we say back to whoever criticizes us. You don't understand. Okay. So who is it that doesn't understand? That person or me? Okay. So, like a lion amongst foxes, I will not be affected by this disturbing host. Okay, so foxes, people can often be afraid of foxes, and certainly small animals are. But if a lion's there, what happens to the foxes? Yeah, they run away. So, like a lion amongst foxes, And the lion doesn't need to say anything to the foxes. The lion just is there. And the foxes look and they're gone. Yeah. So if we hold in our heart our own values, our own standards, yeah, then when the afflictions come, if we are well trained or after we are well trained, then when the afflictions start to come, we can squash them right away. When we're not well trained, when we're, just trying to do our best, then, we have to really stop and say, what's going on in my mind right now? What's the antidote to this? Yeah. Yeah. Because at that moment, yeah, the lion is sleeping and the foxes are running all over him. So we need to wake the lion up. 61. Just as people will guard their eyes when great danger and turmoil occurs, likewise, I shall never be swayed by the disturbances within my mind, even at times of great strife or great danger. Okay? So when you're in a threatening situation or a dangerous situation, people often guard their eyes because, your eyes, losing eyesight is something pretty serious. So you guard your eyes and you guard your ears too. It's easy to lose hearing. Yeah. And so when things are dangerous, that's what you do. If you think of, what's happening in Ukraine, yeah, people guard their eyes, they guard their bodies, they take care, they're observant, yeah, with these kinds of things when there's great danger and turmoil. Okay. So we do that to protect our body, but here he's talking about protecting our mind. So likewise, I will never be swayed by the disturbances within my mind. So my mind may be going berserky, yeah, but I can step back and, I may not be able to stop everything right now, but I can step back and go, here we go again. I'm running this video. Yeah. My defensive video of how it's not me, it's them. Or my, one of our self-pity video. Yeah. Oh, nobody understands me. Yeah. Or whatever video it is. Yeah. My misunderstood video. Yeah, the whole world doesn't understand me. Yeah. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with them? Okay. So we have our own little video collection, don't we? Of videos that we run when different things happen in our lives. Yeah. And we're so habituated to these videos that no sooner do we get any little tiny indication that we could start playing one when boom, it's already playing and our mind is off and running. Okay. And so to be able to notice that when it happens, and not get mad at ourselves, but just say, here we go again, and I know this video. I know the plot. Yeah. We know the conclusion because we've played the video how many times? And if we really step back, isn't it boring by now? Well, no, because it concerns me, so I can rerun it ad infinitum. But when you really stop and think about it, is it so interesting? Yeah. I find what I do, something gets pushed, and then my mind starts rehearsing what I'm going to say to them. I tell everybody else in teachings, don't think about what to do. Calm your mind first. But what do? I'm rerunning what I'm going to say without calming my mind first. Okay. And so I watch that. Yeah. I can see that's a habit that I have. And I can go off revising, this thing I'm going to say to somebody and how I'm going to explain it and da, 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 da. And sometimes, when I don't catch it, then it's like, well, this is really important that I rehearse this, because I've got to explain this thing to this person so that they understand that actually I'm right. And they should listen to me. But when I catch it, then I say, okay, here I go again. Stupid. Cut this. Put your mind on something more useful, something that's virtuous. Don't replay this thing again, And so, now when I can catch it, it's much easier to cut it. Yeah. Before, even I knew what was going on, it was difficult to stop it because I really needed to rehearse to make sure that I explained this properly, so this person really understood. Yeah. And now it's like, boring. Yeah. Do you have certain mental habits that are boring? When you really acknowledge them, what they are. They're interesting when they're happening, because they're all about me. But when you really think about them, they're actually quite boring. 62. It would be better for me to be burned, to have my head cut off and be killed, rather than ever bowing down to those ever-present afflictions. So likewise, in all situations, I should do nothing other than what is fit. Okay, so this sounds a little bit extreme. Yeah. That it would be better to be burned, to have my head cut off and be killed, rather than letting my attachment get its way or let my anger get its way a little bit. It's only a little bit of attachment. It's not so bad. And only a little bit angry. And it's actually for the other person's welfare that they need to know this. Yeah, so I need to tell them how wrong they are. Okay, so it sounds very extreme. But Shantideva is really making a point that our afflictions, when we can't always tap them down. Sometimes they overwhelm us. But when we make excuses for our afflictions, like it's only a little bit of attachment, only a little bit of anger. Yeah, I'm just self-important a little bit. It's not real big. It's not so much of a problem. That when we have that attitude towards our afflictions, then we're actually fertilizing them. Yeah. Because then, they stay in the garden of our mind and we've accepted them. And so they just keep reproducing. Like knapweed. Okay, knapweed is actually a very good analogy for afflictions. Yeah, because each knapweed pod has 900 seeds. I didn't count them, but that's what the scientists, the biologists say. So if we ignore even one knapweed pod, and say, well, you know, I've been pulling knapweed all morning, trudging through the knapweed field, pulling knapweed. And here's one more bit of knapweed, and it's the last bit, but I've had it. Yeah. And then the knapweed stays and it flourishes. So this doesn't mean being tight. Yeah. The remedy isn't being tight and being, okay, I'm going to be suspicious of what's going on in my mind and watch my mind for even the slightest thing. Yeah. If you hold yourself that tightly, you're totally miserable. Yeah. And that tightness becomes an obstacle in itself to really noticing what's happening in the mind. Yeah. So don't go to the extreme of being tight. I say that because that's often what we do. Yeah. We happen to be extremists. Yeah. Maybe not terrorists, but we're extremists. Yeah. So maybe the FBI is looking at us. Yeah, it'd be good for the FBI to have some Dharma teachings. Don't you think so? When I went to Singapore in 1987, the Singaporeans said, you know, because there were, right before I went there was I had been in Tibet, and there was some uprising in Tibet. Yeah. And they said, don't talk about that. Don't say anything about politics. You know, the Singapore government does not want religion to be involved in politics. And so don't say anything, yeah, about that. And I said, and they said, because I forget what department it is in Singapore, you know, but they will send spies to listen to the Dharma teachings to hear if you are talking about politics or not. And if you say anything about politics, they will kick you out of Singapore. So my response was, I think it would be very good if these spies heard some Dharma. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about politics in Singapore. Yeah. But if I did, you know, I think it would be very good. Yeah. In those days, it was Lee Kuan Yew, you know, and like, yeah, it'd be really cool if he came to teachings. Yeah. Don't you think?
He's very close to the Abbey.
Yeah, the big Pokasi Abbey, right. Well, yeah, so he could use some more teachings too. Yeah. Okay. So 63, just like those who yearn for the fruits of play, Bodhisattvas are attracted to whatever tasks they may do. They never have enough. It only brings them joy. So we are in the section about the third part of the third aspect of joyous effort. Okay, so we talked about aspiration, and we talked about steadfastness. This is the third one, joy. Okay, so being happy by practicing the Dharma. So if you remember when you were a kid, or even when you were a monastic who went for a lake day, there's some friends have a little house by the Hayden Lake, and before COVID, every summer they would invite us to the lake house for the day, and offer lunch. And it was a very nice break for all of us. Yeah. And people went swimming, and they had one of their sons was a Theravada monk, but he took us out on the speedboat. Yeah, so it was a day of play, and it was actually very good for everybody's mind.
We have one scheduled.
Yeah, and we have one scheduled for July. Yeah, so, Geshe-la, you'll have to stay longer. It's in July. It's not in June. So just as like those who yearn for the fruits of play, so like little kids, when they go to play, they are so happy. Yeah. And they're not thinking, oh, this and that and the other thing. They just go and they play. Okay. So with that same kind of happy feeling, bodhisattvas are attracted to whatever tasks they may do. Yeah. So whatever they do, bodhisattvas do not see it as a chore. Okay. It is not a chore. It is something that can be fun, somewhere where I can contribute and have a good time contributing, and other people can benefit from it. Yeah. So they're attracted to whatever tasks they may do. They never have enough. It only brings them joy. So do you remember when you were little and you went outside to play, and you were playing and playing and having such a good time with your friends, and then one of your parents shouted, "Dinner time, come on in," and you were like, "Oh, I don't want to come in. I want to stay outside and play." Okay. Or summertime, you went swimming. Yeah. And you were in the pool all day, as much as you can. And then one of them, some adult said, "Time to go home." "Oh, I don't want to." So that's how bodhisattvas see doing whatever they're doing, whether they're studying the Dharma, meditating in retreat, vacuuming the floor, whatever it is they're doing, they have a happy mind, because they have a virtuous attitude. So they see whatever they're doing as something virtuous. And when you see what you're doing as virtuous, your mind is already rejoicing at your own virtue. Yeah. So you can have that inner kind of happiness no matter what you're doing. It's possible. I mean, we have to train our mind. Isn't it strange? We have to train our mind how to be happy. Isn't that interesting? I never thought about it that way, but it really is. Yeah. We have to practice the Dharma so that we can train our mind to be happy instead of always picking faults with others or feeling bad about ourselves or who knows what. Yeah. Okay. So when you hear about bodhisattvas approaching things like that, do you get a little bit excited? Okay. 64. Although people work in order to be happy, it is uncertain whether or not they will find it, happiness. But how can those whose work itself is joy? Okay, so how can those whose work itself is joy find happiness unless they do it? Okay, so although ordinary people work in order to be happy, yeah, is it certain that they'll be happy? Yeah, I mean, people go to work thinking, some people enjoy their work. Yeah. Many people work simply because they need to earn a living for their family. And so work is work. And the purpose of work is to get the paycheck. And then with the paycheck, you can have fun. Or with the people who enjoy their work, then by getting acknowledgement or something, free travel, free dinners at expensive restaurants, then, their work becomes fun. Yeah, that doesn't happen to everybody. Okay, but although we do a lot, the point is, although we do a lot to seek happiness, it's uncertain whether we actually get happiness from the things that we do. Yeah. So we might work very hard to get happiness, but is the end result happiness, or is the end result fatigue or frustration or whatever? Okay. So without the Dharma, our minds fall to fatigue and frustration. Yeah. Even with the Dharma, we may get tired. But when we get tired from doing a lot of Dharma and we need a break, our mind can rejoice at what we've been doing and feel content about it. Whereas when we work really hard to try and get some external happiness, then if we don't get it, we're really upset. And if we do get it, sometimes we're just too wiped out to really enjoy it. Yeah, it's interesting in this country, people go on vacation. They choose a place to go on vacation where they can have fun, but part of the purpose of vacation is to sleep. Yeah, and rest. And sleeping, I don't know, is sleeping fun? Yeah, when you're exhausted, you really need to sleep. Yeah. But do you wake up in the morning saying, boy, that was really fun? Yeah. Actually, we should try waking up that way. Yeah. Oh, I had such a good time last night. I don't remember any of it. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like what drunks say the next morning. Okay. So when we're seeking for worldly happiness, totally uncertain whether we'll get it, even though we work hard to get it. But how can those whose work itself is joy? So when what we are doing is itself something that makes us happy, then how can those people find happiness unless they do that? Okay, so they've done all sorts of studies that people feel really good when they're able to reach out and help somebody. Yeah. So if we really have that deep in our heart, then, we've got to reach out and help to feel good, because that's how we get our sense of fulfillment. Most of us, it's like, what do we enjoy doing? Getting the paycheck or going out and, doing who knows what. Okay. But here for the Bodhisattvas, what they're doing, any kind of activity, and there's so many different kinds of virtuous activities. So it's not like you always have to, be studying, or you always have to be meditating, or you always have to be offering service of some sort. No, we can make our lives, balance our lives between all those different things. And at certain times in our life, we need to emphasize one, and certain times another, So it doesn't mean you always have to be doing the same thing. But there's so many different ways to create virtue. And when creating virtue makes us feel good, then we want to do it, because that's how we feel good at the end of the day. Okay? Whereas working for worldly pleasure, you can work very hard, but you're not really sure that it's going to come like that. Yeah? Like you're a kid and, you were told, if you're good for so long, then we'll take you to Disneyland, so you're really good. And then you go to Disneyland and you have a cold and you can't enjoy it. Or you go to Disneyland and in the car ride there, you get in trouble because you do something. Yeah, I'm just talking about ordinary experience, isn't it? Yeah. And you think you're going to have such a good time, or it's prom night, yeah. And so you go to Disneyland as part of the prom or part of the senior whatever it is, okay. And wow, this is going to be fun. And the next morning you're just, yeah. So you work hard for it, but then it doesn't really bring satisfaction for very long. Okay, verse 65. If I feel that I never have enough of sensual objects, which are like honey smeared on a razor's edge, then why should I ever feel that I have enough merit which ripens in happiness and peace? This analogy of honey on a razor blade, I heard like my first year in the Dharma, and it really made an impact on me. That sense pleasure is like honey on a razor blade. It's so sweet when you taste it, and at the end you've cut your tongue and it hurts. So you may do something, the afflictions run the show, and you may act according to the afflictions, especially the affliction of attachment and craving. Yeah. And then afterwards, yeah, you feel crummy. Or afterwards, the razor has cut even deeper and you have a lower rebirth. Okay. So, for me, that image of, I like honey. And do you like honey? Or chocolate on a razor blade. And you don't see the razor blade, you only see the honey. Yeah. So I'm going to enjoy that honey. And then you look and there's blood mixed in with the honey, and then there's no honey left and just blood. Yeah. And then you go, why in the world did I do that? Well, the first time you do it, it's like, oh, I didn't know there was a razor blade underneath it. Yeah. That's the first time. Then what do? Yeah. We do it again. Oh, I didn't realize there was a razor blade underneath it. And then we do it again. Oh, that razor blade was still there. And then we do it again. Yeah. And it's like, maybe I should not do this. And then we do it again. And again and again. Yeah? Yeah. Isn't that somebody said that the definition of stupidity, is it? It's when you, what?
Insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Yeah.
Insanity is when you do the same thing. I thought it was stupidity. So I favor stupidity. Is that, insanity is when you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result each time. But that's what we do, That's what we do. And I think that's why we have to be able to laugh at ourselves. At the same time, we nudge ourselves to clean up our act. Okay. So if I never have enough of the honey smeared on the razor blade, yeah, I could lick that honey for a long time because it tastes so good. Yeah. Then why should I ever feel that I have enough merit which ripens in happiness and peace? So if I'm willing to get my tongue sliced in order to have that honey, yeah, then why should I ever feel, and I feel like I don't have enough honey, I've got to do it again to get more, and my tongue gets sliced, well, too bad. Then why should I ever feel that I have enough merit which ripens in happiness and peace? Yeah. So why should I ever say, okay, well, I've done enough Dharma today. Yeah, I've created merit. And so now I want to sit back and watch, I don't know what the biggest hit is now, some new version of Spider-Man, or is he out of style? I don't know.
Probably Spider-Man.
What?
Probably Spider-Man.
Probably Spider-Man. I'm sure somebody will, online will email us and let us know if we guessed correctly, But, we say, oh, I'm just so exhausted from creating merit. So I want to go to a flick and watch Spider-Man. Yeah. Or watch, some war movie. Yeah. Where they're shooting each other up. Yeah. Those are amusing. Yeah. You look at what's going on in Ukraine, it's horrifying. But when it's a movie from Hollywood, it's entertainment. Yeah. Isn't something screwy about that? Yeah. That when in the Aurora Theater, when that guy came in and started shooting during a Batman movie, when they were playing Batman, and Batman was doing all sorts of violent things and jumping around, that was entertainment. As soon as the entertainment became reality, and instead of Batman clobbering people, it was this guy in the theater shooting people, then all of a sudden it wasn't entertainment anymore. So my question is why was it entertaining at the beginning? When you're watching Batman or Rambo or John Wayne or Spider-Man or whatever, generation you're from. Why is that amusement? But when it happens in reality, it's horrifying. Yeah. I think something's wrong that we enjoy these kind of movies. Okay? But, what this verse is saying, is, to never feel like we have enough merit and we just need to, therefore, give permission to our attachment to do whatever it wants so that we can relax. We need time to relax, and we need to do things that divert our attention to other stuff. And we need to have fun, but we can do it in an appropriate way and in a way that doesn't get our mind embroiled in afflictions. Okay, thus, in order to complete this task, I shall venture into it, just as an elephant tormented by the midday sun plunges into a cool, refreshing lake. Okay, so Shantideva's teaching in India. If you've ever been in India during the monsoon, okay, they say in Delhi that it's hot enough that you can fry an egg on the top of a car. That's how hot the metal gets. Okay, it is hot pre-monsoon, and it is humid. Okay, so this image of an elephant who is tormented by the midday sun, you can empathize with that elephant. Yeah, because you've been in the midday sun pre-monsoon yourself, and you know what it's like, you know. And so that elephant takes off and jumps into the lake, and it's just like, oh, this so much relief. This feels so good. I'm out of the heat. Okay. So with that much glee, that much enthusiasm, yeah, we shall venture into whatever task we are doing. Yeah, I don't think we need to be overly dramatic and like, yippee, where's the vacuumer? I can't wait to get the vacuum cleaner. Hurry, hurry. You know, I don't think we need to go to that extreme. But, you know, everything we do to say, oh, yeah, this is something I can enjoy. Yeah, why not enjoy it? Well, because it's work. Who made it work? What's the definition of work? Work is what I don't like doing. If that's your definition of work, then forget it. You know, you're not going to have a very happy life at all because everything's going to be work. But if you say, you know, work is something that makes me feel good, it's any activity that makes me feel good because I can contribute and, you know, be active, then, yeah, you define work differently, and then it can become something you enjoy. Yeah? I think words matter. And, yeah, just like, you know, we do not, at the Abbey, we do not do fundraising. Yeah, we invite generosity. Fundraising and generosity are very different. And you have a completely different mind when you're doing fundraising and then when you're doing generosity. At least I do. Yeah? Yeah. And our IG person agrees. Okay. So, you know, you change the wording so that you can really see that this is something that you can enjoy and something you can rejoice about. Okay. And then we can be like elephants, you know, running to that lake, going kerplunk. I wonder what, it might be a pretty big splash. Okay, 67. When my strength declines, I should leave whatever I am doing in order to be able to continue with it later. Having done something well, I should put it aside with the wish to accomplish what will follow. Okay, so we do get tired. Physically, sometimes we get tired. Mentally, we get tired. Okay, so when our physical or mental strength is declining, yeah, instead of pushing, I should do more, I am not tired, I'm going to get through this. Instead of doing that, Shantideva says, I should leave whatever I am doing. Take a break, rest. Yeah, don't dig yourself into a hole. Yeah, and why do we leave whatever we're doing? Yeah, not because we're just exhausted and we can't take it anymore and we're glad that we don't have to do it anymore, but in order to be able to continue with it later, because it's something that we enjoy. and something that we want to do. And right now we're tired and we need a break. Okay, so we're not running away from anything. We're not giving up on anything, but we are not pushing. Yeah, and it's very important not to push, because when we push, then we really, we really dig ourselves into a hole. Yeah, and get ourselves so exhausted that it's hard afterwards. Yeah, so to be able to learn how to be a balanced person. And I know for me, this is one aim of my Dharma practice, is to learn how to be a balanced person. Yeah, it sounds kind of insignificant or silly, but if I'm not a balanced person, I can't do anything that is of any use. Yeah. So to learn to be balanced, learn to keep a happy mind, learn when I need to take a break. Yeah, when I need to rest my body, when I need to rest my mind, how long to rest, what actually to do when I'm resting. Because sometimes I may do something to rest, but it's actually something that makes me more exhausted. Yeah, like sometimes you need a mental break and you just, and you just need to rest your mind. Then I think go outdoors, take a walk in the forest, go work in the forest, look at the stars, look long distances, look at the flower petals, look at the bugs, talk to the deer. Yeah. Then that's very helpful to relaxing, your mind. But if you're relaxing your mind and you say, okay, I'm going to relax and I'm going to do one of the hardest crossword puzzles that they've published. Is that a way to relax your mind? Yeah. Or I'm going to go and, balance my checking account, which I haven't done for the last 6 months. Then you're really in big trouble. Okay. But, you choose something to relax, but it's actually something that puts more pressure on you. Yeah. So we need to learn to pay attention to our own experience of, what actually is relaxing and how long. Yeah. And to make sure we relax enough, but to make sure we don't fall into self-indulgence. Okay, so it's this thing also about sleeping, to learn what kind of sleep, how much sleep we need, but not indulge in sleep because it just eats our time away. Yeah. And at different times in our life, we need different amounts of sleep. And in different circumstances, we need different amounts of sleep. Yeah. So, to learn how to balance ourselves in this way. Okay. And then we can have a mind that is enthusiastic to create virtue. And also to realize that sometimes, you may not feel, we talked about it. I don't feel like it. Yeah. It's like, there's puja today. I don't feel like going to puja. Yeah. The way these people chant, I wouldn't even call it chanting. Or whatever your criticism of the day is, I don't feel like going. And then, I don't know about you, but when I go to a Dharma activity, even when I don't feel like it, I always come out feeling good. Yeah. If every time I didn't feel like it, I didn't go, you wouldn't see me a lot. Yeah. But I know now from my own experience that if I go, and I'm not talking about pushing, Yeah, I'm going to go, and I'm reading Absorption in No External World. Okay, Jeffries, Volume 3, about the Yogacarya tradition. And I hold the book this way and this way and this way, and I'm trying to make some sense of what in the world he's talking about. These three natures and the three non-natures that are all mind only. And no external object. And things exist by their own characteristics, but they don't exist by their own characteristics as the referent of a name or concept. Huh? What? Okay, so I'm relaxing reading. That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, just find something that's, a little bit easier on your mind. Yeah. You can still read Dharma. Yeah. You can take a walk. Yeah. Okay. So, questions and comments? Okay.
First off, I think it would help us here if we changed the term from Chorota to Playrota.
Good idea. Playrota. Okay. And kitchen Playrota.
Very good idea.
Yeah, instead of what? Instead of washing dishes, kitchen play.
Waterworks.
Waterworks. Oh, Waterworks is much better. Yes.
It's a water park.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's going to the spa after lunch. Yeah. Yeah.
And then back to the topic of the FBI. A few years ago, when the local sheriff called us that there were some people perhaps coming up here to do something not so virtuous, we were recommended by our friend down the road, the former LA police person, to contact the FBI. So I did, and I was so impressed with how interested and concerned the FBI person was in Spokane. He said, here's my cell phone number. We're going to check all the social media. You call me any time of the day or night. And so we had a long conversation about that. And he came across as really, caring about how we were going to do. Mm. And then he called back a few hours later, called us, and he said, I've been thinking some more about this, and I still don't see any activity on social media. And he said, what we need to do, with keeping lights on, doors locked. He said, but, maybe this is your opportunity to connect with these people. And I just about dropped the phone. And I said, beg your pardon? He said, yeah, maybe you could connect with these people. Maybe this is your chance. That's an FBI officer.
Wow. Did you invite him up?
I still have his number.
That's amazing. Yeah. Uh-huh.
To go back to the very first verse about stupid, ugly, feeble, what came to mind is the shooter. I was reading about his background, and he was really bullied a whole lot in school. And so it just made me think, like, if he had created the causes in the past to be picked on in this life, just look at what happened from there. Like, he wasn't strong enough to deal with it, and he just created more non-virtue.
Yeah.
So that's how the karma keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we should talk about bullying in school as leading to these school shootings, because it's kind of a common trend. And I really haven't heard people talk about that, how that contributes to the whole situation. Mm-hmm. It pushes people to the edge. And now the difference is they have access to weapons.
Yeah. 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 Now I've heard some discussion about bullying, and those of us who are teachers certainly were aware of it before, and bullying. I mean, I was aware of bullying when I was in grammar school. Yeah. Because bullying has existed since beginningless time. Yeah, and children especially can be very, very cruel. Yeah, and you look, why do children bully? Well, because they see older children bullying and they see adults bullying. Yeah. And I mean, this is what we see in our politics right now. You know, not policy discussion, but bullying. Yeah, to get more votes so that you can save your parking space. Yeah, all the Congress people get special parking spaces. Yeah. So, yeah. So to watch our mind too, when we want to bully, when we want to pick on somebody. And, you know, since we do prison work, we see a lot of this too. The guys write to us about, you know, they themselves have experienced bullying, or they've witnessed what happens in a prison when one person bullies another. Yeah, it really sets everybody off. Anything else? Okay. So let's not end on bullying. Let's end on waterworks and spas and yeah, vacuum. What's vacuuming then?
It's aerobics.
It's what?
Aerobics.
Aerobics. Are aerobics fun? No.
It's great bliss.
It's great. It's
Great bliss.
it's great bliss. Okay. Let's dedicate.